Stephen Blaine, your host with White Labs, an e-commerce marketing agency. Today's guest is Christophe. Christophe, feel free to introduce yourself and let our viewers know a little about yourself and your background.
Yeah, thank you, Stefan. So my name is Christophe Neymer. I am the founder and creator of the brand Armagnac called Cardinal Du Four. So it's a 21 years old blend.
Tell me the journey of the brand. Go ahead.
Yeah, absolutely. So, I've been pretty much 23 years in the industry. So I co-own restaurants, I worked on some liquor brands, and it was always a dream of mine to create my own brand of liquor. And at the beginning, I wanted to do a cognac because I was really in love with cognac. And I flew to Cognac and visited a couple distilleries. And I realized that, getting the high quality product was very difficult. And then I was introduced to one of the biggest négociant house in Armagnac called Le Club des Marques. And when I went there, I was really blown away by the quality of the eau de vie. So I went barrel testing. And when I tested all the different products available, it really made me confident that we could create a really delicious blend that could compete at the highest level. So during that process, I was actually reading the history of Armagnac, and because I was trying to find a cool name that could be attached to the brand. And the name Cardinal Du Four came back all the time. So I tried to actually trademark the name, and it was actually indeed available. So we were able to secure the name Cardinal Du Four. So let me tell you a little bit about this gentleman. So actually, Cardinal Du Four, the story of Cardinal Du Four is pretty incredible, actually, because he's the person that pretty much documented the first evidence of distillation dating back to 1310. So basically, people don't realize that Armagnac is 200 years older than Cognac. Cognac is 500 years old. Armagnac is 700 years old. And back then, 700 years ago, it was still Middle Age. So there was a lot of things to discover. And this gentleman, Cardinal Du Four, he was actually a priest. His name was Vital Dufour from the Armagnac region. And back then, in Middle Age, they were using alcohol as a medicine. I mean, we still do to this day, but we drink a little bit better now. But long story short, in 1310, this gentleman wrote a book saying that Armagnac has 40 different virtues. So, for example, if you're a little timid, you drink a bit of Armagnac and suddenly you're talkative. If you have a sore throat, you can drink a bit of Armagnac and it cures you. So there is like 40 different virtues like this. As I mentioned, back then they were using alcohol as a medicine. So long story short, the book that he wrote in 1310 happens to be the first evidence of distillation in France and even in the world. And the book that he wrote in 1310 is actually today at the Vatican Library in Rome, and it's been there since the 16th century. So in a way, I was very lucky because when I was in Armagnac and I was working on the blend, the local kind of asked me, how I'm going to call it. And when I told them Cardinal Du Four, they all thought that, the name will be protected. So, for example, in 2010, Le Bureau National Interprofessionnel de l'Armagnac, the people that makes the rules in Armagnac, actually sent people to the Vatican in Rome to actually retrieve copies of the first evidence of distillation. They came back to Eos, which is the capital of Armagnac, and they created a custom-made fountain to honor Cardinal Du Four. So that was really exciting that the name was available, and we were able to create a very strong architecture of brand around, the story of Cardinal Du Four. So basically, it's a very similar story to Dom Perignon and Champagne when you think about it, because Dom Perignon was a pioneer in the Champagne category. He was there when Champagne happened by accident, and he capitalized on it and pushed it. Cardinal Du Four is actually the person that was there at the beginning of the Armagnac category, which, Armagnac is the oldest spirits in France. And he was the person documenting the first evidence of distillation. So that was a really cool, compelling story to take. So then let me show you what the bottle looks like. So then after that, when we realized that we had the name Cardinal Du Four, we knew that we needed to create a beautiful design. So we developed this new design. Actually, I'm going to remove so it's easier to see without the. So we developed this shape. and we also have a design patent on it. And you see the bottle kind of looks like a cardinal, with the bishop hat.
Yeah.
So then you can see here on the neck, you see 21. So what is it actually? It's a blend. The youngest eau de vie is 21 years old. The oldest is 43 years old, averaging 30 years old. So there is 15 different eau de vie blended together and averaging 30 years old. The big innovation behind the blend is that there is no additive. So there is no sugar and no caramel added. So the caramel brings the color and the sugar brings the sweetness. So when you test it, you will realize that there is a dry finish and a very opulent dry finish. So there is no sugary coating in the back of your throat. And the blend has been getting so far, I think, 8 or 9 different gold and double gold medal. So this has been amazing. I mean, we have one of the best cognac cellar master by our side, who is our co-founder and master blender. His name is François Thibault. He's the person also who created the recipe of Grey Goose vodka. So I was lucky to meet François in 2007 because I used to work for Grey Goose for 6 years back then. And we became great friends and we always kept in touch. And every time I came back to Cognac, we always kind of spent some time together, sharing some great dinner, some great wine, some great cognacs and different kind of spirits. And when he learned that I was working on an Armagnac project, he really helped me out and helped me blend everything. And we recently were able to announce his involvement in the company a couple of months ago.
Awesome. Amazing story. I love it.
Thank you. And so actually the story, I'm going to keep going with the story of the brand because it's a lot. Everything on the bottle or everything on the box has a meaning. So then we call it 21 Rebellion. So why Rebellion? So you can see there's kind of a religious aspect behind the brand with the cardinal. So the meaning of the number 21 in the Bible is actually rebellion and sin. So we call it rebellion because it's a rebellion of Armagnac towards Cognac, since Armagnac always has been a shadow of Cognac. And the reason why also Armagnac has been a shadow of Cognac for so long, it's because 250 years ago, all the big brands, the big houses in Cognac invested heavily into the Cognac region and not into Armagnac. And the main reason why is because there is the Charente River right by the Cognac region. So back then, logistics was very important and difficult. So it was much easier to move the Cognac through the river to the other countries. And that's why Armagnac never got some love or never got much investment compared to those big houses. And so in a way, it gave me the opportunity to do what I'm doing today. So I'm not going to complain,
Awesome.
Then I have a question for you. What do you think the emblem is?
The emblem. That's a good question. I can't really, like a spider web?
No. So, it's a good guess. I get that a lot. But technically, I was trying to find a connection between France and Italy, because he was a French priest and he became cardinal. So he was going also to the Vatican to assist the Pope. And also during that time, I know that the Vatican was relocated in the Palais of the Pope in Avignon. So I was trying to find a connection between France and Italy. So I flew to the Vatican. And when I visited the Vatican from room to room, every time I look up, I see those beautiful domes, those beautiful ceilings. So it really triggered my interest. But what really convinced me, I don't know, have you ever been to Rome in Italy?
I have not, no.
Yeah. Okay, you have not. If you go to Rome, Italy, please take the time to go visit the Pantheon. So the Pantheon is a temple that was built over 2,000 years ago, and it's in downtown Rome. And when you step inside the Pantheon, you can see the world's largest and reinforced concrete dome in the entire world. So honestly, when I step inside that Pantheon, I really had this haha moment because I saw that dome. And I was like, okay, I got to try to recreate that beautiful kind of concave, dome and structure. Yeah. And then I started to read a little bit the history of the Pantheon. And the Pantheon was actually a wonder of this world. People wonder, how is it still standing? Because there was the barbarian invasions, there was the wars, and everything around the temple was completely destroyed. And this temple is super old, 2,000 years old, and it's completely pristine. So the reason why they say that it was not touched is because it was built to honor all gods. So I was like, how perfect is that? Because we kind of have a Christian feel a little bit with the Cardinal. So now the emblem is inspired by a temple that was built over 2,000 years ago, and that was built to honor all gods. So we bring all the religions a little bit together. I thought it was a good story to take.
100%. It's much better than a spider web. Like 100%.
Yeah, not good, but I get that a lot. Spider webs or the inside of a cask. I had some people actually saying a dome. Some people got it. But yeah, most likely I get spider webs a lot, so don't feel bad at all.
All right. Hold on. So who is your ideal target audience for the brand?
So right now at the moment, we really try to create the best product possible in all, directions. So from the design, from the name, from the liquid. The goal was really to create a luxury trademark behind the name Cardinal Du Four and have brand recognition. So we really tackle, all the I would say fine dining restaurants, the 5-star hotels. I would say the high net worth individuals, all the I would say the lover of luxury. And now recently so we are going to launch a new product at the end of the year, which will be a Blanche d'Armagnac, so which is a clear liquid. And we're going all out with Francois. We were able to combine 3 different distillations. So 2 distillations from Armagnac. So one of them is a wood burning fire alembic. So you can distill and develop certain characteristics. The other one is a traditional Armagnac alembic, which is heated with gas. So you can control a little bit better the distillation process. And the last one is actually the distillation from cognac, which is a double distillation where we can distill the lees. So we were able to combine 3 different distillations, bringing 3 different kind of flavors, and also combine 4 different grapes. So also the big differences with cognac and Armagnac, because in cognac you can only use 1 grape, which is Uni Blanc. And in Armagnac, we have 10 grapes allowed, but technically only 4 are widely available. So we were able to combine and blend those 4 grapes. So we have some Uni Blanc in it, some Baco Blanc, which is an hybrid that was created after the phylloxera. And the 2 other grapes are Folle Blanche and Colombar.
Awesome. That's great. So what makes you better than your competitors?
I think I don't know if I will say better. We are very different and have also a product that is super clean with no additive. And I think that's the hardest part to do, is to be able to create a product with so many different eau de vie blended together and have a very clean and opulent taste. And the reason that we don't put sugar is also because we like to bring the Armagnac to the table. And the fact that it has a dry finish, it really pairs very well with food. So you can really bring on the product at every stage of the meal. It can be, enjoyed at the beginning as an aperitif. It can be paired also with, for example, a product that goes so well with it is caviar. Because caviar, it's salty, yoddy, and creamy. And the fact there is a dry finish with the product, the dryness of the product cut through the creaminess of the caviar. And there is a lot of dry fruit characteristic that are naturally into the blend. This kind of complements the saltiness and yodiness of the caviar. So they really bounce back to each other so well. So they make each other better. And I think that's the purpose of a food pairing, is to make sure that there's some sort of magic happening between the pairing, and caviar is one of those. So I strongly recommend, or maybe we should get together in the coming weeks so we can do a tasting together.
100%. Amen.
Another thing I want to go back to finish the story about the Cardinal Du Four, the 21 Rebellion. So you can see around the dome, you can see 3 words written in Latin. So you see Harmonia, Illuminatio, and Admiratio. So those are the core values of the brand. Then we wrote in Latin. And the reason why we wrote it in Latin is that in 1310, when Cardinal Du Four wrote that book, which happens to be the first evidence of distillation, he actually wrote it in Latin. So to bring authenticity to the emblem, we thought that it would make sense to write it in Latin. So harmonia, that's harmony, the harmony of the blend. So we went to find those key musical notes, which are the eau de vie, to put them together to create an harmonious blend, which give us also a pillar to do collaboration with music, pop, hip hop, and rock and roll. Then illuminatio means enlightenment. So we are putting the light on the Armagnac region, which always has been a shadow of cognac. which also give us a pillar to talk about the 700 years of history, the French savoir-faire, and all those beautiful products coming out of that region. And the last one, admiratio, means wonder. So when you look at the bottle, you see the packaging, you kind of wonder what it is. It's mysterious. So yeah, that's the story of the brand.
That's amazing. So I mean, the story is amazing. It really is. What's your future plan for the brand and yourself?
Yeah, so we recently also signed a multi-year partnership with the Los Angeles Rams, the football team of Los Angeles. And so this is a great platform for us to, bring awareness behind the product. We have a very, very sweet little partnerships where we can, activate the suites and elevate the experience during game days. We're also going to be the title sponsor of all the milestones throughout the year. So during the season, when one of the players does a good performance, it's going to be a social media series post to showcase the performance, and it will be presented by Cardinal Du Four.
That's awesome.
Yeah, so we have a lot of cool things happening. We've been also supporting a City Harvest in New York. So it's actually a food bank that provides food for New Yorkers in need. So it was amazing because every year we're able to partner with a top chef. So the first year we were part of the package with Eric Ripper from Le Bernardin. And this year we just did it with the top chef judges, so Tom Calicchio, Gail Salmon, and Christine Kirsch. So this has been great to supporting the charity and also networking and meeting the top chefs, so they have a chance to be introduced to Cardinal Du Four. So which was great because we've been working pretty much with all of them since they tried the product. So I think the product speaks for itself on those regards. Yeah.
Definitely. So since starting the brand, I'm sure you've had some challenges. What are some challenges that you faced, and how did you overcome them?
Yeah, so the biggest challenge, I must say, was COVID, because I started to work on this project in 2018.
I meant to say, besides COVID, because that's always everyone's challenge.
Yeah, it's true, but I think it's an important one, especially for
I know. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
For Cardinal Du Four. I think for me, I mean, it happened really. The timing couldn't be worse. But in a way, when you look back after that, everything happened for a reason. But yeah, I mean, it took me 2 years to build this brand. Then I received my first container in California in 2020, March of 2020, and April of 2020. This is when COVID started. So for a year and a half, the whole California was completely closed. Everybody was on quarantine. All the restaurants were closed. So you couldn't get a meeting. You couldn't do anything really. So not the best, I would say, situation to start a new brand, especially with a category that needed a lot of brand recognition and love and awareness. But, when I look back, the fact that we couldn't really work, we spent a lot of time on e-commerce and I would say social media and make sure we have a really strong presence online. Now that life is back together and we're able to start doing testing and meeting people. Now we have a strong presence online, which is a good thing. So makes the brand be maybe more established or longer in the market.
100%. What are some activities you've done to promote the brand that's been successful?
Yeah, so we've done a lot of marketing, a lot of PR. So we've been doing a lot of gifting suites surrounding the award shows, like the Oscars, the Emmys, the Super Bowl, the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. So we were always having a little booth where the celebrity comes and try the product. We always paired it with caviar. And the responses has been really, really incredible to have the feedback from those celebrities and influencers trying the product. So it was a good testament also and a good way to see that the product, when it's well targeted, people really love it. So this was definitely a good one. Obviously, also the support that we've done with the charities such as City Harvest. There's another thing that we did that's really cool. We did a partnerships with Delage. I don't know, have you ever heard of Delage?
I have not.
So Delage, it's a luxury French automobile company. So it was one of the top one from the 1920s to the 60s. There were two top one in France. That was Bugatti and Delage. And Delage was, for example, Charles de Gaulle, when he was driving around with a Delage. So it was really a prestigious luxury car brand. And the brand kind of died in the 60s because they stopped manufacturing cars for the general public. And this gentleman from France, who is a huge Formula One fan, sold his company and decided to create 30 supercars that looks like a Formula One, but that would be street legal. And so I was introduced to this gentleman. We chat about each other's project, and he really liked the story of Cardinal Du Four and Armagnac, and obviously he's a French gentleman, so he really understands the category. And we decided to collaborate and do a limited edition. And so that's the one we did.
That's awesome.
So
you know what? I've seen the logo. I definitely have seen that logo. Yeah,
which is pretty incredible because they were absent of the all the racing events for the last 50 years. They this year they did les 24 Heures du Mans. No, that was last year, yeah? And after 50 years of absence, and they actually got the pole position. So that was really impressive. And I think they finished 6th in the race, which, you know, they were right behind the 2 Ferraris. And I think they had a flat tire towards the end of the race. So they were really, you know, in amongst the favorites, you know. So that's good to see that after so much absence, they still come back strong, you know.
100%. I go to the Indy 500 every year.
Oh,
I've been every year since '96.
So you like racing?
I do. Yeah, I lived in Indianapolis for a long time, so it's a big deal.
Yes, absolutely. And also, what we did some really cool collaboration with artists. So to create one-of-a-kind painted bottle. So we actually utilized those one-of-a-kind painted bottles for the live auctions during the City Harvest fundraiser. And so the one we just did with Tom Calico, actually, I still have the bottles. I'm excited. I can show it to you guys because with the auction just happened in April, and the whole package. So that was a in-home dinner experience cooked by Tom Calico, Gail Salmon, and Christine Kish, who are the Top Chef judges. And this was the bottle auctioned off with the package. And so let me show you. It looks like this.
It's amazing. I like it's very nice.
Thank you. So the artist, his name is Shane Guffock. So he's a very, very established artist. He just came back from the Biennale in Venice, where he has over 30 paintings showcased in a gallery. And you know, the Biennale in Venice is pretty much the Oscars for arts. And so he's selling painting, you know, right now around like 300,000 to 500,000. So that was really a great collaboration with one of the most influential artists of the 20th century. Let me show you the bottle. So this one,
that's great.
Steel point, and you can see the City Harvest logo right here in the middle. Look at this.
Amazing. And where, besides your website, Cardinal Du Four, where can we buy your brand?
So I just recently also were able to set up to sell the product directly from the Cardinal Du Four website. Otherwise, we have, we open New York, New Jersey, California, Las Vegas, and a little bit of Miami. But in California, we have around like 25 different retailers, you know, from Wally's to Mission Liquor to Remedy to we just actually got picked up also by Total Wine.
Okay.
So we have 16 stores in California and 1 store in Nevada, and I'm waiting to hear back from the East Coast, buyers. Hopefully, we're also going to be picked up for Total Wine on the East Coast.
Definitely, amazing.
So, yeah, things are starting to really take off, and the thing is also the market has been very challenging, as you know, with COVID. Then COVID left, and then last year was, I think, a very challenging year for all the brands, and now finally things are coming back. So yeah, we feel like between all the different partnerships, all the different activations that we did in the market, now we're really getting a lot of interest from people, and the goal was to create a luxury trademark behind a very well-made and luxury product. And now we are working on launching a mixology product, which is like a clear liquid, so it will be competing with all the clear liquid liquor. And hopefully, I mean, this is a new category again because it's called Blanche d'Armagnac. So it's kind of like a pisco, you know, like because it's made with grapes, but it's from the Armagnac region. And it's a category that obviously needs some love, but it's really, really, really good. So that's why I'm very confident that people, especially like top mixologists and bartenders, is gonna adopt the product because it's on its own has a lot of flavors and characteristics that a lot of other spirits don't have. So it's definitely a good spirit to create complex cocktails. So I'm excited to work on that and start introducing this product to West Coast markets.
Definitely. Well, Christophe, your product seems amazing without tasting it, and I appreciate you coming on the White Pod and telling your story about your brand. Thank you so much.
No, my pleasure. Thank you for having me.
Definitely. Thank you.